Hey guys, what's up? I'm Sam, I'm your average stat guru, and I'm here to help you build your English Premier League FPL squad for game week 14. And these have been the best performing, the top 5 midfielders so far.
Okay, let's get started. And this is bound to be controversial because when I was doing the analysis, I could hardly come to a landing because it is crazy. Now, again, you would have seen my previous other videos and how I'm conducting the analysis, but we have the average points scored by each player per game, the average points per dollar, the metrics are total points scored by each midfielder and the total points per dollar. Now, let's just dive in and have a look at the average points scored by each player. So Sterling at the moment is the best performing midfielder. He is scoring 8.6 points per game on average. He is followed closely by Hazard, who is averaging 6.9 points per game. Then I think Salah is 6.4 and Mane are equal. Yep. Salah and Mane are equal. They are scoring 6.4 points per game on average. And the next best player is Martial, who's averaging 6.1 points per game, closely followed by David Silva. So, um, straight away, if you want to look at your top 5 players, just in terms of average points, it's Sterling, Hazard, Salah and Mane, and Martial. Now we're just looking at um, average points. Now, if we then bring dollars into play, um, let's go and look at average points per dollar. Now, just to quickly explain, Sterling at the moment is averaging 8.6 points per game, and he cost 11.3 million. Now, average points per dollar is just basically 8.6 average points divided by 11.3 million, and I multiplied that number, whatever the result was, by 10 million. And why was it 10 million? Because 10 million is just a big random number. It could have been 1 million, it could have been 5 million, it could have been a billion, it doesn't matter. But when you multiply it by a big random number, it just gives us the ability to see something nice on this report. But what the most important thing is, in terms of average points per dollar, is the best performing midfielders are Fraser, Martial, Richarlison, Goodmanson, and Sterling. These are your top 5 players. Now let's move on. And Fraser by a long shot. Look at that. Look at that big gap between Fraser and Martial. Now that's basically because Fraser is scoring 5.5 points, and then he's dirt cheap. That's why he is way ahead of Sterling. Let's look at total points. Sorry, didn't mean to bring that up, everyone. If we look at total points, the usual suspects pop their heads up again. It is Sterling, Salah and Hazard, and Mane, and it's a close one between Sigurdsson and Fraser. No, they are equal. So Fraser and Sigurdsson have both scored 72 points um, after 13 weeks. Now, just looking at this analysis alone, you would say, well, if you had a choice between Sane, Sigurdsson, and Fraser, you would go with Fraser because he scored 72 points and he cost less money. So um, let's go to total points per dollar. And Fraser, it is Fraser, Sigurdsson, Pereira, Richarlison, and Brooks. Those are your top 5 players. Now, again, I got total points per dollar was basically taking the total points each player had scored, and I just divided that total points by the cost of that player right now. And these are the rankings. that you see right in front of you. So this is a really, really difficult thing now, just looking at it. If you look at it in terms of just average points alone, the usual suspects are Sterling, Hazard, Salah, Mane, and Martial. But when you bring in um, dollars like bang for buck, then it totally changes. Fraser, Martial, Richarlison, Goodmanson, Sterling, like Sterling drops to the back of that analysis. When you bring up total points again, Sterling, Salah, Hazard, Mane, you know, pop their heads up again. But when you bring up total points, um, Sterling, Hazard, Salah, and Mane, they're nowhere to be seen. So here's my um, here's my takeaway from all this analysis. Um, and and this is why I love this is yes, it's good to use statistics, but we know that the beautiful game of football is also art. So this is where we're going to combine statistics and a bit of black magic, or I don't know, bit of bit of art. My top five are: I would go with Sterling and Hazard simply because of their current form is scintillating, and I would combine Sterling and Hazard with Sigurdsson, Fraser, and Goodmanson. That's how I would go. These Sterling and Hazard would be my premium midfielders, where I would count on these guys to bring me a lot of points. But I will also got combine them with Sigurdsson and Fraser and Goodmanson, because you can't have Sterling, Hazard, and Mane all playing in your squad. That's the beauty of fantasy Premier League, is you have a budget and you have to make things work within the budget. And that's my top five: Sterling, Hazard as my premium midfielders, and then I would go with three uh, budget midfielders, but these guys are performing great. Sigurdsson and Fraser and Goodmanson are performing amazingly well. Guys, that's it. Thank you very much for listening in. Hope this is helpful. Cheers.